Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA. I'm Joshua Gray.
And I am Randall Holcomb.
Hey, remembered his name. Good job, Randall.
I wanted to make you wait on that one. I just wanted to scare him a little bit on the opener there. Yeah, anyway, second day of matches. We had some really interesting ones last night and a few that weren't broadcasted. We're going to be able to catch you guys up on that, but don't worry. That's going to be happening all season. Replays will be available for everyone out there.
Yeah, because of the changes, we have a round-robin type tournament, meaning every single team will fight every other team. We're going to be broadcasting half of those matches throughout the season. As Randall said, we'll have a recap. But focusing more on what happened last night, we are going to take a look at some of the replays and some of the performances from the teams, recapping who won, and then preparing for the matches tonight. We're going to see some of the teams that we saw last night again tonight. And I'm looking forward to see how some of these newcomers, such as Timed Out, are going to perform after the first night of play they had last night.
Yeah, a little,
rocky.
Shaky start on some people. We'll get to see if they can, just up their game a little bit tonight.
First off, Simp versus Elevate. Now, Elevate is the new banner, formerly Bernal Empire, so this team is known for their aggressive stance. Simp, known for more of their control, defensive type play. Simp were the ones that came out on top, but Elevate still had a couple plays that were good, but we just found a lot of these skirmishes that were happening at the central areas of the map, such as Prohorovka, really not going in favor of Elevate because of target fire from Simp and better performance and movement coming from Simp as well.
Yeah, Simp actually played a really good aggressive game at times, though. We're looking back at Ruinberg, for example, when they decided to attack the North Cap, doing an excellent job. Were you seeing Blue Boys in that 1390 performing very well in one of their other attacks on Ruinberg when they chose the South Cap instead? Simp playing the game very well and showing that they have a strong understanding of the new format, even though they are very new to it.
And moving on to Penguin Mafia versus Timed Out. Penguin Mafia continues to impress as they're joining us for the first time this season. Timed Out had a bit of a rocky start. However, the team from Brazil, who has captured all the hearts in Brazil, showed a couple good plays, but they kept getting picked apart even with their aggression or their defense. It seemed that Penguin Mafia was ready for anything Timed Out would bring.
Yeah, Penguin Mafia just seemed to pick the right strategies, especially on Maravanka. First match went defense, Timed Out went west, then they went east. Penguin Mafia on both of those went to the opposite side of the map and ended up just kind of boxing their opponent out of their cap and really just denying them that control, forcing Timed Out on the defense to take an offensive stance.
And that control is so crucial, especially when you're trying to dictate what's happening on the battlefield as the defender or the aggressor. And we're seeing that a couple times with some teams, even though they're defending, they're pushing across the battlefield into enemy territory and catching them off guard. Moving on to Fun Gaming versus Noble Esports. This was a shutout. Noble Esports was able to take this 5-0. However, Fun Gaming, known for their very campy play from last season, have improved, and they're starting to change up based on the changes from the format. But they kept doing the same thing over and over, and that was crossing the center line across the railroad tracks, and every single time Noble Esports was ready for them.
Yeah, Noble was doing an excellent job creating a strong spread, getting their crossfires, their teamwork in small groups was impressive, and certainly stood above their opponent Fun Gaming last night. Noble looks good. Noble looks like they are a different team. They are a step above. They have reimagined their entire team. It's a different feel from what they were.
Zombie Food yesterday in that interview said that they want to take the competition more seriously, and they are. Based on last night, we'll have to see how they're going to perform again the next time we see them on the broadcast. And the final match that we saw last night was RBIS versus Victoria's Secret, which it was quite a surprise to see the former Jackie Rudo, now Amanda Hugginkiss, on RBIS. But Victoria's Secret had some trouble in the brawls, especially the center, and the great overhead play, you could say, the lighthouse position coming from RBIS.
Yeah, Victoria's Secret definitely made some mistakes in that respect, but they did alter their strategies at times and did come out with 2 victories in that series, which when they did win, I saw Victoria's Secret that was what I'd been expecting. The rest of the time, they just seemed to be lacking in something or just misinterpreting a situation, it seemed.
Yeah, misinterpreting is a really good way to put it, because you can see them making a decision, having a strategy and executing upon that, but it wouldn't necessarily work, and so they had to adjust. And once they were trying to adjust, RBIS was ready to counter that adjustment or was already working on step 2 of their plan.
Yeah.
Looking at the matches that were not broadcasted last night and giving the results, first off, the Cunninghams defeated Hammer Time in a tiebreaker. They took that 5-4. Roulette and Top Tier went to a tiebreaker as well. Roulette, formerly #RU, took that series. Full Potato lost to Simple Tinkers 1-5. And Simply Irresistible and I Love Lamp, again, another tiebreaker. That match went to Simply Irresistible. Now, the Cunninghams and Hammer Time are rivals based on not really, a choice. It's more of how their matches have played out over the last number of seasons they've been in the Gold League.
Yeah, they've always been close. Every single one. It's always close, close, close. And you can see that in the format. I think that when a team goes to a tiebreaker, that says that they are very evenly matched. They're going to go back and forth. Maybe defenders are winning a lot, or maybe they're just trading up on those attacks. It's just back and forth. And you saw that in the offline ones, all of those tiebreakers, and then last night the broadcasted ones, all of those teams kind of being a little one-sided.
A little one-sided. I mean, not necessarily a blowout every single time it was for one team, but it's really tough for us to label that a complete blowout because it's the first match, and every team is going to have some sort of jitters.
But when a team is evenly matched,
yeah,
that is when we are going to see.
Especially in a new format, too, because they're testing things out as well. But I was surprised by the number of tiebreakers overall. I mean, 3 tiebreakers in the first night. Yeah. The other 2 teams, Roulette versus Top Tier. That being close, it's either a testament of Roulette still going through some changes with their roster differences, or Top Tier has been skirmishing and doing something right, because Roulette is mostly the champions from last season.
Yeah, I think Roulette should be a team that performs well right off the start. Looking at the roster, most of the core teams there, they've got some added skill from top teams. They've got some new guys coming in there, yeah, but I think they should be a solid team. No problems there. And that's why I think Top Tier was probably playing very, very well next to what we expect them to perform against Roulette.
We'll see Full Potato tonight, along with, I believe, Simply Irresistible, but they were able to take down I Love Lamp in that final series. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of my favorite tanks, the TOG 2. After that, we will talk about the matches tonight.
Here we explore tank facts about the TOG 2. The TOG 2 is an endangered species from the remote island of Great Britain. It is considered endangered because this tank's natural habitat, trench warfare, is no longer a viable method of combat. The TOG 2 is a monstrous tank capable of absorbing 1,400 hit points before it explodes in a ball of nostalgia. For size comparison, the TOG 2 is longer than a mouse, and I don't mean the furry kind. One thing that everyone can agree on is the TOG 2 is very, very slow, like a turtle or a boat. Really? Whoa! Coming in hot? The TOG 2 may move like a turtle, but it's a turtle with laser beams. The OQF 17-pounder Mark 7 gun can fire 12 rounds per minute. When using APCR rounds, this gun can penetrate up to 239 millimeters of armor. Despite its speed, the TOG 2 proves that in battle, slow and steady wins the race. With laser beams.
Always a pleasure to play the TOG 2. That was the first premium tank I purchased and the first premium tank that I sold.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Dude, you have to keep it, and then you have to take it to maps with water.
Yeah.
And then use nautical terms only to communicate with your platoon mates, who are also TOGs. And then only do that. Stay in the water, go to the enemy cap, and that's it.
I'll do it next time. Let's take a look at the matches that we have prepared for you tonight. First off, we have Full Potato versus Simply Irresistible. And as we mentioned earlier, Full Potato lost to Simple Tankers last night. Now they have to face another Simp team. Ooh. Full Potato joined us from the Silver League in first place. They moved on up to the Gold League. And you will learn this season that Fat Crow was quite the character.
Oh, gosh. He was a lot of fun when he was out here and I got to interview him and do the tactics piece. He was a cool guy. And he even did his little Full Potato. He's a funny guy.
Well,
he's fun.
They went Full Potato last night, and those are their words, not mine,
Ooh.
Against Simple Tankers. So tonight we get to see their style. We get to see how they're going to perform. And Simply Irresistible, they joined us by winning qualifier number 2. And this is a team that was aggressive and intimidating when it came to the defensive side. But also this is a team that broke that northwestern corner on Himmelsdorf when they faced the Doge squad. And that was impressive.
Yeah, they took it apart. They mapped out how they were going to counter it. and their opponent really didn't have that prepared. They didn't realize that someone was going to be able to do such a good job just picking them apart one piece at a time.
Next up is I Love Lamp versus Hammer Time. I Love Lamp, this will be the first time they're going to get broadcasted tonight as well. They defeated River of Blood in relegation, and that was a fan favorite. They also have a member of their team named Brick. As we saw on the battlefield last time, he was in a T1 rolling around crazily with a grenade in his hand amongst newscasters trying to fight on the battlefield as well. So that was fun to see, but I don't know if Brick's going to make an appearance tonight.
Where did he get the grenade?
I don't know. I don't know. Now, Hammer Time's a team that has been with us since Season 2, and Hammer Time is a team that has impressed us, but also has, I don't want to say disappointed, but they haven't lived up to some of their potential compared to what they were able to earn in Season 2 and Season 3. What I mean by that, in Season 2, did well. Season 3, they took 3rd place. And then Season 4, losing to #RU.
They lost, but #RU was the team that would go on to be the champion. So losing to that early on, it sucks. But you can't blame them for losing the team that would win it all.
Well, they lost to the Cunninghams last night, which it's considered their rivals. So we'll see how they're going to perform tonight, what changes they made for 7x54.
Yep.
After that, we have Timed Out versus Simple Tankers. Now, Timed Out, rocky start. However, up against Simple Tankers, this is again another uphill battle for them.
Yeah, Simple Tankers looking strong. Better team than last season. Made some small changes to the roster. Timed Out. Had a rough time last night.
Yeah.
But if they're able to keep their cool, step away from that match and say, you know what, we didn't do the best. We didn't live up to what we were supposed to. We can do this. We can do much better. Let's study our mistakes and make some improvements. They've had a little time, and I think they can perform better tonight.
And also if they've studied Simple Tankers, who have always had issues with brawls and by being divided. When they work together, they're physically together on the map, they are awesome. And when they're moving on the open maps like Prohorovka, awesome work. But when they are dividing themselves in 2 and 3 groups in the tier 8s back in 7x42, they get picked apart. So they had to work on the brawls to get back into the Gold League. They were knocked out. They're back, and we'll see how they perform tonight. The final matchup is going to be Cunninghams versus Penguin Mafia. Again, this is a matchup I'm looking forward to the most. Last night, it was RBS versus Victoria's Secret. The reason behind this is I'm still impressed by Penguin Mafia, but they faced Timed Out last time. They were both new teams. How are they going to fare against a veteran team?
A team with someone like Commander J on the lineup, who is, I think in this format, going to be able to perform stronger than he was before, especially if Cunninghams are going to bring out an Artie, which they even did in 742 before. I think they're going to feel confident with artillery in the new format. Depends on the map. If we see Steps, if we see Murovanka, if we see Prohorovka, good possibility that Cunninghams will bring an Artie, combo that with Commander J, and I'm worried for Penguin Mafia in that case.
Those are the matches tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to miss any of them. Betting's going to be open. We want to hear who you're going to be rooting for on social media. And these teams are playing for a $171,000 prize pool for the finals taking place in San Francisco on March 15th. We're just getting started. You don't want to miss it. We're going to start that first matchup after this. Stay tuned.
So Full Potato is coming from we started in the Open League qualifiers, and we qualified to the Bronze League. And then we did one season in Bronze League. We finished 6th place, and we qualified for the Silver League. So our expectations coming into the Silver League was about top 8 or something. We didn't think we could take the first place like we did. So going through the season, about midway through, we said, hey, we can pretty much take first place, and that's what we aimed for. And we took first place and qualified directly in the Gold League. Of course, going from Bronze League to Silver League, we did some roster changes, and one big thing that we also changed was we changed caller, basically. I stepped up as a caller because we had some troubles where we would not take a small window of opportunity to make a move, and it would end up meaning that we had an advantage and we didn't use it. So that's the big change that we did that made us take the first place in the Silver League. Going to the finals would be something really, really exciting for us, just because it's all new, and I think that's what every team is hoping for. So we're gonna try to go for that. In the end, it's the price of your effort, basically. So we're gonna put the effort into it to try to get to the playoffs and the finals.
All right, thanks for that, Fat Crow. Looking forward to your performance in this first matchup tonight for the WGLNA. I'm Joshua Gray, as always, joined by Randall Holcomb. And please follow us on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets and put them up on the broadcast.
And don't forget to include it in the question of the day. Why will your team be at our finals in San Francisco?
And 140 characters or less. Don't have to write an essay, but we love hearing from the fans. We love putting those tweets up on the broadcast. Also, betting is open at the beginning of every single battle. If you're new to betting, you start out with 10 points. Everybody starts with 10 points. Place your bets. Follow the syntax in Twitch chat. If you have any questions, ask the moderators. They'll help you out. You can go to WGLConnect.com to check out the leaderboard. The top performers tonight have a chance to win an awesome prize, and one of those prizes is a gift code from Jinx, $50 for some Jinx apparel. You can go to Jinx.com and check out some of the awesome stuff they have for World of Tanks, especially this hat. Randall, you can pre-order this hat right now.
But look 2 steps below that. Is that a handkerchief?
Yeah, it's a tread scarf.
Ah, scarf. But then, no, not below that, but on the other far side.
It's a bandana.
That's a bandana.
Yes.
Ah.
They had some awesome bandanas at our finals.
Yeah, that one, all 4 of the teams there on it, that was sweet.
They were great. As we get ready for the face-off here, the first map between these two teams is going to be Prohorovka. And as we get ready for that as well, they're going to be jumping into their tanks after the face-off. But we do have the teams ready for the face-off. So, gentlemen, welcome to the Gold League for your first matchup. Good to see you.
Hello.
Let's start with Faux Potato. We have External joining us. What happened last night, External?
Our captain is down in the Dominican Republic right now having sex by the beach, the drink that is. And so, unfortunately, I'm a Clan Wars caller for Otter. I'm also a DC in Otter. And so I tried to step up a little bit for that, and I learned that I'm not the best league caller. Made a couple slip-ups, so it just didn't go as expected. So we have another person who's here tonight who wasn't able to make it last night who can assist in that now. So hopefully it should all go better and go to plan. So.
All right. Are you finding it? What's the most difficult part about trying to call? What is the hardest thing for you?
Well, the big change for me was I'm a Clan Wars person. I've been doing it for a while now, and so when you have 15 people and you just you're able to there's certain key spots in every map you want to work with, and with 15 people you can get to those spots and have no problem in multiple groups at the same time. But with the league calling, I'm kind of picking up on the meta, and that's the biggest difference. It's a different meta. And so what I noticed, or at least what I'm feeling so far, is that you don't want to be the one who's having to go on the reaction. You want to be the one that's putting the other team on their toes and have them react to you, So you want to be the ones making initial movements and then having the other team react to you. And so I feel like that was a big problem that we ran into last night, is that we kind of just had set things to do. Or at least I just went with set strats, and there wasn't a whole lot of reaction calling. And that was the biggest thing. And that's what the biggest change is just you have to be a good reactionary caller and know what to do from there. You
got to be able to adapt. All right, thank you, External. Let's go ahead and check in with your opponent. We got Vode joining us from Simply Irresistible. How excited you guys are to be here in the Gold League?
We're pretty excited. I mean, even at the end of last season, I thought it was kind of cool just to be moving up into Silver League, and until the qualifier brackets were actually posted, I didn't think we had any realistic chance of being in Gold League right now. But here we are, and we seem to be doing okay.
All right, Vode. I saw your name, and immediately I was pretty sure I knew where it came from. How big of a Mandalorian fan are you?
I mean, quite big. I mean,
okay. Can you speak Mandalorian?
No, not as much as a lot of people who say hello to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, is there anything you want to say to your opponents, either in English or Mandalorian, before we get started?
In English, I just would like to say that last night we kind of crushed some lamps, knocked them off of our table, and tonight we have a potato here, and I'm going to go down and put this in the oven when we're done, and hopefully by the end it'll be nice and baked for me dinner.
All right, Full Potato, any response to that?
Yeah, no matter how this turns out, if you need afterwards, I can teach you how to spell Irresistible.
Oh.
Use help.
All right, gentlemen. We'll see you on the battlefield. Best of luck.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Hey, all right. Some friendly shots fired coming from both teams here. Good to see some personality coming out of these team captains, team representatives, and their first broadcasted matches tonight.
I'm really glad Vodon jumped on because I'd really been wondering if he was like one of those super fans of it, that super Star Wars fan, and he was going to be like Vodon. I'd be like, oh, hey, do you speak Mandalorian? He'd just do the rest of it in it.
And I would not be able to translate it all because I do not speak that language.
It's okay. Almost no one does.
That's all right. Well, Pro Roka is going to be the first map between these teams as they go ahead and jump into the tank selection screen. We've seen this hill play on the eastern side. Now, I love to be that proponent of using the eastern side on all sorts of maps throughout my career in commentating World of Tanks. And finally, teams started to catch on. And it was kind of a running joke. But now, a lot of teams seem to be vying for this position, but how is it working tactfully?
Okay, so like the east versus the west kind of thing. All right. So with the new attack defense, you have the two caps. One in the east, one in the west. One is in kind of in Delta 7. Actually, let's go ahead and show you guys about that. So if you are to take the east and you are going to go up to the hill or something up there in about, what is that? That's Gulf 0. You're going to take the hill, have the high ground, you're going to have control. But in order to have any kind of real control, you have to take control of the 3 choke points on Prohorovka, which are up in about Alpha and Bravo 6 up in the north, the one in the middle, Echo 6 and Foxtrot 6, and then also you need to kind of have control over the most southern one. Even though it seems like it's the least important, you have to have control of the Juliet 7 and everything south of there, all of that area that you can cross over. Because if someone spots you in the south in about Juliet 7, you're going to lose your guy on the hill. Mm-hmm. We saw that last night with Knight versus Fun Gaming. Noble. I keep thinking Knight, sorry. Noble versus Fun Gaming. You have to have control. You have to prevent your opponent from being able to come up and over those little choke points and spot much of anything or get damage out. They have to be punished for that so that it costs them more than they gain.
And that placement, too, of having one of those tanks up north, it's a little bit of a risky move because if you have 2 or 3 enemy tanks that are able to spot it, they can quickly overmatch and then pull back. But I mentioned it last night when we saw some of the play coming from the now defunct Fnatic, where they would pull some of the attention from those tanks that were in the center and to look more to the north, and then from there they could overmatch in that center or even the southern position. I find that that's a very, very crucial spot. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rosters for these two teams as we get more familiar with these different individuals here as they jump on our broadcast for the first time for the Gold League.
All right, so we all recognize, I hope, if you're a fan of WGLNA, Fostakid. He's been around for a while. I see him in chat all the time. Fat Crow being the leader. I think he might not be here tonight, which is unfortunate. Simply Irresistible. A lot of these guys are simp players. We just saw Vodon. Remember, Eula performing well in the qualifiers.
And speed weaponry, excuse me.
There you go.
Say that 5 times fast. We saw him in the qualifiers. I think he's going to be a very significant presence for Simply Irresistible in this tournament. We'll find out as these two teams are making their broadcast premiere right here for the WGLNA. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
All right, looks like we've got 2 T-32s, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. That's going to be Full Potato, who are the defenders, the red team. The blue team, the attackers. Blue team defenders, I got myself mixed up, will be Simply Irresistible, 2 T-32s, a 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. So both teams going with that 5 Tier 8, 2 Tier 7s. Walker Bulldogs are excellent tanks and have been playing rather well. Now, opening runs, Vode making it, 243 damage cost there, and Bobby will take a hit for 150. Meadowhawk getting that shot off. It looks like we're going to have Full Potato with the control over the map right at the beginning. Fostakid takes a hit.
And Vode his hit again for 227 in the Walker Bulldog as Flack and Bananas try to push up in those T-32s into a hold down position, but Fostakid got hit by Swipple and then RU-251. So a bit of dancing back and forth from both teams. You look at the horizontal spread of tanks coming from Full Potato and now the movement from Shinma and Warbander on the western side.
Take a look at this. Both teams are kind of setting up to flank each other. We've got in the northeast Simply Irresistible setting up with their Walker Bulldogs and, well, just about all of their light tanks, leaving the T-32s in the middle. We've got Shinma leading the way for Full Potato to flank down the west side. They've got Meadowhawk with him. It looks like Chandog might be there. Whoever, I guess, strikes first in this situation might be able to come out ahead.
Ooh, Vo gets hit for 240 and then gets hit again by External, and he is down.
That is going to set Simply Irresistible back. They've lost a crucial tank. Vodon can deal serious damage, and now the push will come out. Will it work is the question, because they are up a tank.
Bobby, JD, Stride and Pride, trying to figure out which tank to focus on. It looks like it's going to be External in the T-32, who can hold back this aggression for a little while. Stride and JD push a little bit further to try to find a weaker tank. Can't get it. They focus on External, and he falls. Fossikit takes down JD. Now Flak and Bananas are getting into the mix as they push down into the lower part of Prohorovka. Swipple's going to push forward in the RU-251. This is going to be an all-out brawl. Warbender takes down Stride Pride. Flak and Swipple return fire, take down 2 more tanks from Full Potato. And now Bananas could be the next one to fall, and Flak and Swipple will be the only ones left here if that T-32 goes down. But Chandog is the next one, but there goes Bananas.
All right, now with 2 tanks left, Flak and Swipple are in the low ground. They are at a disadvantage for that. Swipple can get out of this position quickly, but he's going to walk into 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. And between the 2 of them, Focus Fire, we saw this yesterday, will take down a Tier 8 Light very, very quickly.
So Flak's going to try to pull attention from the T-32, but the Walker Bulldogs can easily get behind him, and that's where it's really going to get crazy for the 2 remaining Simply Irresistible tanks here.
And there's the flank you just called for. Meadowhawk is moving in on Swipple, and between them, they're going to take him down.
And they're going to focus 1 more shot. He falls. 1 T-32 remains. He's not going to have enough speed or firepower to take down 3 tanks, especially when he tracks a T-32. And now the Walker Bulldogs will get behind Flak and continue to fire into the weakest part of the tank. A couple more shots and he will fall. Big bounce coming from Boire, and there he goes. And that is a point on the board for Full Potato.
All right, not bad start right there. The real reason I think that fell apart is that they lost a light tank right at the beginning. They lost Vode very quickly. His opening scout run was costly due to mostly, I think, higher pressure on the middle from Full Potato. With that, they get a little more damage out. They do take some themselves, but Vode attempts to lead the way one more time, gets taken down. T-32's playing an excellent game, I think, and if we look at the post-game stats, I'm sure there's something to back that up. Yep, Boire is going to do 1,500 damage, but got to remember the M41s. Yep. They are dangerous, dangerous Tier 7 light tanks, and they will wreck your team if you do not give them the proper respect. In this battle, they came in late, which didn't get a, Simply Irresistible didn't get a chance to really deal with them.
No, they couldn't, and this is a tough call to make as well. Do you spread further out and look for another flank, but leaving these tanks open to an attack, or do you congregate together? They chose for the congregation play of moving in below this defilate here, but look at the amount of HP still with Full Potato. They start to get the surround. They know which tanks to focus on. The RU-251 is going to be the big thorns in their side if they don't take them out first.
And look at Swipple. Swipple did not get into this fight until 30 seconds into it.
Yep.
So they are down a Tier 8 tank for that fight until it's almost over, until it's really decided. And if he'd been there sooner, I think this would have been a different fight, one that would have been slightly easier or maybe salvageable for Simply. Just not sure.
Well, again, as defenders, I feel that they exposed themselves too much. They were in the middle of the battlefield scouting for too long, or with too many tanks, and because of that, they were punished.
That's if you take the mentality that the defender must defend. In this new format, the defender might necessarily not have to defend because your attacker, given enough time, will be able to defeat you. And their goal being to dig you out and get the cap, they're going to find a way of doing that.
But their type of push didn't look like a calculated risk of engagement. It was more of, oh, we're trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, now we're being attacked. Okay, let's attack. Let's return fire. And that's kind of what happened there. Battle number 2, Prohorovka, between these 2 teams. What do we have for tanks?
Looks like we've got 2 T-32s, AMX 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. That's actually both teams. Both the Simply Irresistible and Full Potato have brought the same lineup. It's a mirror matchup.
Mirror matchup. We haven't seen one of those in quite some time due to the changes in the 7x54 format. We'll detail some of those changes for some of the new viewers after the matchup.
Here's the same scout run from Vode. And
he's hit again.
327 damage on the opening run this time. But different layout from Simply Irresistible. They're going more western, and they've only put Bobby and the M41 to the east.
Well, those 2 tanks of Swipple and Stride and Pride on that western side are going to be completely out of the engagement if there was a full push over the mountain or push over the hill coming from the red team. Not the case, so the two T-32s from Bananas and Flak fire, but with no connection against Simply Irresistible.
That RU using the terrain very, very well to protect his very low-profile tank. External, because of, I guess, the positioning of Simply Irresistible, is going to take the risk and get into the pit. Boar is not so lucky. 250 damage on him just to get into position. Now 230 on External. They're going to have to turn their turrets quite a bit in order to get shots on any one of the targets they'd like. This is dangerous for the T-32s, probably more dangerous for Meadowhawk, who is down by 708 hit
but
points.
These T-32s are able to get those shots towards Meadowhawk, and then Stride and Pride gets that kill from further up north. They are punishing the movement coming from the attackers here, and Shinma and Fosta Kid have to make a decision. Do they sweep into the side and start getting attacked from the northern section, or do we overmatch to the north? Big shot from Bananas against Shinma, 637 in that volley, but now they're going to focus on Stride and Pride, and he goes down. This is where Bobby, the M41 Bulldog, has to make a decision along with Vode. Do they push in to try to quell this uprising on the western side of tanks, or do they pull back? And it looks like JD is going to be the next one to fall, and Swipple is on his own, and he's going to get focused.
Notice that Shinma is miraculously still alive. He's actually been bait for everyone else to go after. 1390 comes in. There he finally goes down. Simply really needed that pickup, and I think that hurt them just not getting it, and now they're going to begin losing tanks one by one to the overmatch of Full Potato.
And so Bananas is going to focus on the T-32s from down below. He's going to have significant bounces on his tank as Swipple's going to pop up and miss a shot on Chandog. Fossa Kid would have been a better target, but he was not in the sights of Swipple. And those two M41 Bulldogs are still hanging back as External takes another shot for 239. A hit from the M41 Bulldog does not connect, hits into the dirt, and Swipple's going to be dancing back and forth in the RU-251. Vode way far away to the south, trying to determine which section to push in or to go for...
I'm not sure what he's...
sweep to the south, yeah. I don't know exactly what he's doing either. It just he's hanging back there, not in the engagement.
I thought he was going for maybe a flank or something, but when he pulled south, it was confusing. Now, because he's been discovered in that position of the map, they know the overmatch they have. Full Potato can just push in, and this is a 5 versus 2, really. Now 5 versus 1 as Vode tries to get in. External is going to leave the fight to go after Vode.
Well, Bobby's able to get a shot against Fossa Kid for the kill. Vode goes down. Bobby's on the run in the Bulldog. 1390, a 251, and a T-32 on the chase. Big shot.
Oh, nice track.
Turns the tank around, stops him, and there's the ram damage for the kill. Full Potato wins again. 2 battle victories so far. They need 5 to get a full match victory here. I had no idea what Vode was doing in the southern tip of the map.
I think he was going for a flank. He was discovered. We saw one of the T-32s start looking in his direction, and when that happened, I think he tried to take evasive action. He tried to just put distance between him and the T-32 so he couldn't get spotted or stay spotted. And with not enough tanks left on the field, he couldn't flank safely. It wasn't a flank that the rest of his team could hold against a push.
So he was setting up the flank. The flank was going to fail, and he was trying to figure out something. I mean, he was moving, and when he first was going to the south, I thought the same thing. He's going to flank. But he was out of the fight for too long.
And with the middle hill in Prohorovka that separates north and south, they can, Full Potato can just go up and over. And now Vode is 500, 600 meters away. Mm-hmm. Now he has to take 20, 30 seconds to get into the fight, go up a hill. He does have the high ground in that situation when he finally does get in there, but the fight is already decided by then. There's already Full Potato way ahead because they're a tank up yet again.
Well, here's the shift, because now Full Potato is going to be on the defensive and Simply Irresistible will be on the attack. Simply Irresistible have the same form and function of trying to figure out what to do in the center and then go for a flank on the western side, because it's failed twice for them. So what would you do if you just lost twice as the defender moving on to the attacker? What would you do differently?
It depends on the resources first I have on my team.
Sure.
This is the first thought I immediately have, because I don't know Full Potato as individual players well enough. So depends on the resources. Do we have an RD player? Do we have someone who really is an excellent scout? Do I have my T-32s who are going to do their jobs like I need it? And can I put them somewhere and expect them to hold the line? Well, my RD does work. Do I have these resources to accomplish any one task better than my opponent? And I'd go for that. Something maybe RD, maybe bringing a different style lineup.
Yeah, I would stay together a lot more. I would not try to focus on map coverage or map control. I would focus on staying together as a team and then punishing any of the stragglers they're able to find.
Simple
as the
solution.
attackers.
Nice
Simple solution. Try to keep it simple when you're not doing so hot. But it's still anybody's game as we move on to battle number 3, and the tables have been turned. What do we have for tanks?
Looks like we've got slight change up here. We've got 2 T-32s, 1390, 3 RU-251s, and a T-37 for full potato. They have changed it up. They're adding that tier 8 and dropping a T down to a T-37. Other side, we do have 2 T-32s, 3 RU-251s, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. So instead of a 1390, now we have Simply Irresistible bringing an extra RU-251 and trusting in that tank.
Village movement coming from Simply Irresistible in the red. They are the attackers. And Vode is leading the charge here. That T-37 from Meadowhawk moving up into that northeastern position as Bobby and Stride and Pride are going to move right between some buildings here for cover and then wait. Vode's going to not position his tank in the flag cap to reveal his position here. And
oh, look at Meadowhawk. Look at him. He's right behind enemy lines. In his T-37, he's going to have shots onto Vode. 91 in the first shot. If he can stay here for a while, he might be able to get some work done, but it requires full potato to back him up, to create a crossfire in order for anyone to approach Meadowhawk so that they get punished. Meadow is going to be able to kind of hold down here, just have his hull exposed. 340 Vode is getting ripped apart.
And that's the first tank that's going to fall if they continue to focus. But Shinma gets hit again and again, and he's trying to move at that position, and he is barely alive, and he falls. Eula gets the kill. Eula, low, 715, that volley is Bobby and Pride continue to try to fire, but they can't get it. Eula falls, but Fossa could be the next one down. Bobby gets it. Traded fire coming from both sides, 2 tanks down.
And that's 2 in favor of full potato. That is both tier 7s down for Simply Irresistible, but that is 2 tier 8s down for full potato. Huge cost there, and now there is a fight happening in the middle. This is Simply Irresistible recognizing their advantage and taking it. Chandog is dead.
Up and over, that overmatch, 4 against 3. Now it's 5 against 2. External's going to be the next one to fall. He goes down. Boar in the T-32 will be the next target as Bobby is the lowest tank. Can they keep him alive? Body block from Swivel, can't get it. Bobby falls. Boar is the next one. And 4 against 2.
Warbander, way to the south, was out of that fight, not able to snipe well on a 1390. It is not a sniping tank. Really great in close quarters. This situation, I don't think he got a chance to really contribute as he wanted. Meadowhawk also way out of the fight, stuck on his little island.
He's out, yeah, way out of the fight, even though it was it's like a neat play at the beginning, right? But once Simply Irresistible knows, oh, you're way over there, let's go over the railroad tracks where you can't hit us. And as they take down Warbanner, there's 1 tank that remains for Meadowhawk as they continue the chase. This is what I talked about earlier, Randall. If you stay together as a team, when you're losing, you keep it simple. You stop trying to outmaneuver your opponent or get that map control. You focus on the very fundamental thing about World of Tanks, that's landing your shots and overmatching your opponent. They did that in the center.
Yeah, and Full Potato was not prepared. They tried to do something a little fancier, a little trickier, something that would have worked out had Simply Irresistible gone along the track of trying to lock down the eastern side of the map. But no, just like you said, they just went for something simple, make a fight, try and win, find your overmatch.
And as they continue to try to get the flag cap here, matter of seconds, Stride and Pride is not going to find Meadowhawk as he is moving as fast as he can to try to get a reset. He won't make it in time with 5 seconds left. Flak, Bananas, and Swipple on the flag cap. 2, 1, and base has been captured. That is a win for Simply Irresistible as they put a point on the board.
Not bad. That was good. That was a good changeup, but it's odd. Full Potato has won twice on attack, right? Now Simply Irresistible has won once on attack as well.
So it's an attacker's game so far in this series.
It seems like it. It's strange. I would have expected the defenders to kind of make it more difficult, but it seems like the defenders are having a hard time, or both of these teams are having a hard time with that defense. But let's look one more time at that fight by Simply Irresistible when they recognize their advantage after the mistake of Full Potato. So Full Potato is down 2 tier 8s. Easy. Simply Irresistible says, all right, we've got more tier 8s and we know one of your tanks is way out of position. Go for the fight on the T-32s. Get the beefy tanks out. They're not going to bother us anymore in the future. We're also going to get rid of that other free tier 8 in the area. It's an easy fight. Not much to it. Really simple overmatch. I have more tanks than you. I win.
Straight numbers. Simple math. The adjustments that you brought up, though, of we're seeing attackers win on this, it's because the defenders are going out for the brawl, and they're going out for the map control in the center and the scouting run that was very common in 7x42. So it's ingrained in a lot of these tankers that have been playing through the Bronze League and the Silver League to do this. There's nothing wrong with it. We saw Meadow move into that northeastern position.
Yeah.
And, okay, this would work. But once it's recognized from Simply Irresistible that if they're going to be down a tank in this brawl, completely overmatch. So then it moves into this, is it even worth it if that tank is discovered or even not discovered, but if they're able to not scout that
okay, I get what you're asking. So should Meadowhawk have hidden himself instead of dealing damage?
Exactly.
That's the simple question we should ask. Probably not. I think staying hidden in a bush and just being passive until the moment at which you are most useful, which is when your opponent gets comfortable. That's it. Wait for them to get comfortable on that east side of the map, lock down the choke points, think that everyone is to the west, and then all of a sudden, Meadowhawk starts showing up and just deals a little damage here. Yeah. Everyone goes, whoa, where did that come from? And then they try to react. Then you pull some kind of trigger, rip them apart.
And he has to be ready to move from his position to engage that northern section instead of trying to fire from afar. And then once the enemy team goes over the railroad tracks, he is out of the fight. And it's already an overmatch for the opponent. Battle number 4 between Full Potato and Simply Irresistible is about to begin. What's the tank lineup?
All right, T-32s, 2 of them, 2 1390s, RU-251, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. That's Full Potato. Switching it up a little bit yet again. This time, Simply Irresistible, 2 T-32s, 3 RU-251s, and 2 M41s. All right, not much difference from the last battle they had. I think they're confident with that lineup. They feel it's going to work better.
2 of the T-32s are staying on the western side of the railroad tracks as Vode. Try and Pride, Eula, Swipple, and Bobby moving together on the eastern side towards that village once again.
All right, and it looks like Full Potato has made the right choice. This is a bit of a coin flip. They're choosing the east side. They're saying, all right, my opponent is going to go to this side of the map. Let's try and stop them. And they are. T-32s are going to be a bit late, but light tanks are already beginning an engagement. Focus on to Pride.
Vode has left that position, now heading towards the northern section and trying to whip back, but Strident Pride is down, and Eula is taking some significant damage as he tries to move away.
Yeah, he's actually pulling out. They're trying to salvage the situation, but Simply Irresistible is now down a tank. And the lowest tank on the side of Full Potato is at 549 hit points.
That's Warbandit right now, but External gets hit from Flak as Eula pulls back. Let's check in with Vode, who's way up north trying to return fire. And the pressure is on the flag cap to the north. The western flag cap, Swipple.
That's it. Keeping the action up. Simply Irresistible is trying to keep pressure on their opponent. They're trying to let them make a mistake. And if they do, if Full Potato makes that mistake, they might be able to come back. But right now, they do have 3 tanks out of the fight with their T-32s just trying to hold on. 17 seconds left on the cap.
And there's a pushover coming from Full Potato. It's gonna be tough for Flak and Bananas to hold them. They need to hold them for 9 more seconds. Vode and Bananas need to body block these tanks. Fossa could be the next one destroyed here as they focus on him. He goes down, but Vode takes a hit from behind.
Meadowhawk's in.
Is base captured? No, it's not.
Reset by Meadowhawk.
Reset,
he will go down. He will go down. One more moment, and that could actually be a chance for them to start bringing this back, but they have lost the fight elsewhere. You can see 4 tanks against just Bananas right now.
But that long-range fire from Bobby and Eula, is it effective enough? Again, it's External to take him down before Bananas goes. Bananas hit again, 733 in that volley. Chandog coming on the side, he gets hit. Bananas still alive. And a couple more shots coming from the northern section, but Bananas finally falls, and so does Eula. It is 4, oh, more than that. It is 2 against 5.
And they're in a low ground. Shinma, nice high ground position, is taking 2 shells to get his ammo rack damaged, and backup's on the way, though.
Well, that full line of fire coming towards Bobby will take him down. Swipple gets hit on the side for 220. It's all up to Swipple now. So he's going to push in against the lighter tanks. He hits Chandog to the front, gets warped over to the side by losing his tracks, and he falls. That's another point victory for Full Potato as they finish out Prohorovka ahead, and we move on to Murovanka, after this.
Wow, I'm surprised. The coin flip, that's all it did it. Full Potato made a coin flip move. They went east, and they went all in. They didn't send anyone off to the west. The T-32s took a long route, and it worked out. They get control of the east side after picking up Pride, losing very minimal hit points in the process. Then Simply Irresistible tries to pull out, and here's the situation. They try to get the cap. Good pressure, yes, but with almost 100% cap, it gets reset, and that is thanks to Meadowhawk.
It was so close. It was right there.
Yeah.
It was right there.
If he had missed those shells, we would have seen Simply Irresistible walk away with a fast cap win. Something that is really rare because the cap timer is just so long.
Yeah. Well, now when we move on to Mirovanka and looking who's going to attack and who's going to defend first, the tight, close quarter fights have been working for Simply Irresistible to where Full Potato, if they can find their opponents, as we saw Vode leaving that area and then the rest of those tanks in the village having to fend for themselves, losing one of them and then continuing the fight, it seemed that Vode's positioning really didn't make a difference as he tried to leave to the northern flank.
I think he's trying to lone wolf it a little bit, and that could be part of a problem. This is something similar to what we've brought up when we talked about Cunningham's in the past with Commander J. Being a very good player, yes, but not being in position sometimes, or being in a position that allows for your opponent to overmatch the rest of your tanks.
Sure.
Right? It's not necessarily they're doing a bad job at something, it's that there's a window of opportunity created for your opponent to exploit, and if they pick up on it, they're going to do great. If they don't, he has the opportunity to do some serious damage and get work done.
So does that fall upon the responsibility of the player, or does that fall upon the responsibility of the caller making that call?
It's a huge communication thing, because he's playing the role of kind of a scout flanker, and it's very delicate because you want to be able to find an advantage. And one of the ways is to have your lone scout guy head off to one of the flanks and find somebody or start scouting people. If he can stay unspotted for as long as possible, he might be able to make it work. Otherwise, there is a risk that you lose him, and then you lose the battle, or you have to try and salvage the situation.
Well, salvaging could be outmaneuvering your opponent, or it could be waiting it out as the defenders as we move on to this map, where Simply Irresistible will start as the defenders and Full Potato will be the attackers on Mirovanka. What do we have for tanks?
To start with Full Potato, the attackers. They're the red team with a T-32, a single 1390, two RU-251s. This is odd, two T-54 lightweights, and they've decided on a 5916 as their Tier 6 light.
Wow.
Indeed, we'll get to that probably discussion in just a moment, but the defenders, two T-32s, a single 1390, three RU-251s, and they're going to put Vode in that T-37 again. But let's talk about these T-54 lightweights. T-54, probably my favorite tank in the game. When I first played it, it was the top of its tier. Now it's no longer, but the lightweight version is a dream for me. It's everything I wanted in the T-54, but lighter and faster. It does have some little disadvantages in the fact that it has a bit of a long reload time, but the 100mm cannon, it hits pretty well. And so instead of bringing something like a medium tank and trying to work with that, something like a T-44, you get that on a lightweight chassis, and you get to scout around pretty well. I like it. T-54 is a good tank. I would tend to favor the RU-251 for its maneuverability and its firepower, but there must be a purpose for Fostakid and for Chandog to have those tanks in this battle.
Looking at the defensive posturing right now coming from Simply Irresistible, Vode is up front the T-37, trying to scout any movement from the south. The majority of Simply Irresistible are hugging that flag cap on the western side of the map, and with some long-range fire, a little bit of blind fire coming from the T-32s and the RU-251s, landing anything they can to reduce the HP of their opponents. Now the trigger has been pulled, a little bit of an indication showing where the tankers are from Full Potato as more shots are ringing out from the defenders, but nothing has landed. Now Bananas gets hit for some return fire towards him. Two more shots whiz by the T-32, and he falls back. Another one from Chandog. That one did not land. Another one coming from either Shinmar or Boar, but that one bounced off the left side of the hull from the T-32.
I'm a little surprised they haven't been able to spot this. Eula should get a little closer, and he might be able to do this. They are taking down the cover, finally. The box is on cap, and Meadowhawk, he is spotted. 235 damage into him, and he's going to back off. Just going back and forth, dodging these shells, actually. Surprising. Nice moves from Meadowhawk. Not quite the marksmanship that they needed from Simply Irresistible. Shots not landing. That was a death with all of those shells passing by. That was a kill.
Lucky Meadowhawk getting out of there just in time, seeing those shells whiz right by him. Vode still hugging this house, able to scout any of these tanks that move a little bit closer. More shots coming from the defenders. I like this coming from Simply Irresistible because they're hanging back, they're taking their time. And with that time, it's going to be up to Full Potato to have to make the move as the attackers.
Indeed, we'll see. We'll see in just a minute as things start to develop. This is a point in the match where individual players are going to look for weaknesses, or we're going to see one-on-one engagements. Shinma possibly against Eula. We have Chandog possibly getting spotted out. We have near to him External in a position that if he gets spotted, there could be enough fire to come in that might scare him off, you know? But Meadowhawk is going after the cap again, and with that, I'm hoping...
Oh, big bounce off Flak.
Oh, nice.
On that T-32. Bananas and Stride trying to land anything they can, firing more and more towards Full Potato. Vote still scouting for him. Bobby in the RU-251 as well, looking for a target. Banana's going to continue to keep blind firing towards Meadow. Into the bushes.
All right, let's see if I can push in real quick and see that angle. So we're looking right over at Flak, who does have a perfect shot. Puts it into a building, unfortunately.
They keep firing back towards Meadow. Flak gets hit in the turret, and he gets hit on the side for the first penetrating shot on his tank for 263. But Flak returns fire towards Shinma and lands a shot for over 200 damage. But look at those shells flying right by that T-32.
They're just going right over. It's when you're firing at something that's on a raised position like these T-32s are, it's so difficult to make the shot hit, right? You're against a T-32 for one. Great turret armor. There's one little shot trap you can try to get in this position, but you're looking at those bounces. Flak, two of them just went off the front of his turret. That is the point of the T-32 on this. And he can snipe to return fire.
And look at the movement coming from Full Potato. They recognize they're running out of time with 2 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock, as Flak and Stride probably going to stay in this position, but to the very north, you have Eula in the RU-251 who will scout these tanks first, and then Flak and Pride will have to adjust along with Swipple in the AMX 1390.
Oh, Shinma doesn't notice. Now he should. He should notice. Or is he gonna... Is he ignoring him? Shinma doesn't seem to be paying attention to Eula, and because of that, they could leave him behind, make it easier with that, and start the fight elsewhere. But there's a risk that he's going to be able to deal significant damage and keep up with this fight.
Swipple gets hit, so does Chandog on the side of Simply Irresistible. Swipple on Simply Irresistible, Chandog on Full Potato. Swoople's going to move back. He gets hit. Almost down, 683, and he falls. That's the first tank down on the battlefield. That's on the side of Simply Irresistible. Boar pushing up. He's going to get hit for a couple more shots. And look at the HP value difference happening between these two teams. They are lower on the side of Full Potato, but they've lost a tank on Simply Irresistible. So
it's okay. Meadowhawk will go down. That should even it up, but it's only a tier 6 loss. Might pull Pride out there.
And Pride takes a hit for 256. Now Chandog's pushing up. They're going to focus on him. Pride could sweep in and take down Chandog. He gets it. Flak and Bananas are going full charge towards Fosta Kid here, but Boar is to the left, and he's ready to punish him. Banana's able to bounce one shot off Shinma, but he falls. And now Flak's going to get hit from behind from the RU-251. It's the speed of these light tanks getting behind these heavy hitters.
Yeah, you can get from fight to fight really, really quick. And we see Warbander, who's just finished off Eula, is joining the fight now, is loaded up, and barely misses one more shell as Shinma is distracted with Pride.
Now this is going to be a tough fight for Full Potato if they can't find Vote in time with 53 seconds left on the clock, and Warbander's going to fall back. External takes a hit against Flak, and External, look at how much HP he has. He can take down Pride, and he can turn around and help Warbander with Vote, who is going all the way to the northern side.
He is completely hidden. He's out of here.
And there goes Pride. It's up to Vote to hide from these tanks with 30 seconds left on the clock. External's not going to be able to get the flag cap in time. This could be a battle victory for Simply Irresistible, even though they lost the brawl.
This is them playing the clock very, very well. When we saw that long-range firefight, that sniping against the T-32s, that was Simply Irresistible saying, we've got this. This is a good situation for us. Our opponent is trying to snipe out T-32s. We've got an advantage. We've got high ground, good defensive position. We're able to spot our own cap. And with 2 seconds left, looks like Warbander is not close enough to Vote.
And they can't make it. And that is a battle victory for Simply Irresistible. Another point on the board, 2-3 now. A good match so far, but Simply Irresistible, they're losing out on these brawls. And it seems that the long-range firefight, they're keeping their distance. But once this push happens from Full Potato, they're locking in their targets, and they are making their shots count.
And they did get a little damage out here, and they caught a tank out. That was what was important. They got Swipple, and that allowed them to continue forward. They put a tank onto Eula, were able to take him down, and then continue this on. All they had to do was get one tank down before their opponent, one significant tank, and then you have the overmatch. That's all you really need when you're an organized team. Doesn't matter that Simply Irresistible is also doing a rather good job in this brawl. They're doing what they need to do. They're focus firing when they need to. They're calling the kill shots. They're down a tank, and Full Potato is just as competent as they are in that close face-to-face firefight.
Yeah. Still, when Full Potato moved in a good time, it's tough to make that call as an attacker of congregate all your tanks together, full attack, stay together, get these kills, and we'll find Vode later. Vode recognized that's what they were doing. He got out of there, and it's still a team. Yeah. It's a victory for him. And to remind everybody of how this works on the attack defense, attackers must destroy every single enemy tank or capture one of the flag caps on the map. The defenders have to have all of the enemy tanks destroyed, tank-aside as we call it, or the time has to run out without a flag cap being capped. So that's why they got the win in that case. And that's, the defender advantage, you could say.
Yes, but they have a disadvantage in that there's the 2 cap points.
Yes,
It would be a larger disadvantage if the cap timer was shorter, but because of the length of cap timer, generally you can move from one position to the other, one cap point to the other, and be able to actually salvage whatever mistake you've made.
And that's the initial position that they had, especially to scout with Vode up towards the front next to the house, to find out what type of angle of position and which flag cap they're going to focus on from Full Potato. Battle number 6 between these two teams. The final time, Simply Irresistible has the option to defend. Full Potato still in the attack in the red. What do we have for tanks?
All right, looks like a little change up from Full Potato. Full Potato now attacking, red team, has brought T-32, 1390, 4 RU-251s, and a 5916. We'll have to see how they decide to employ those, and we could really point out some of the strengths and weaknesses there. With Simply Irresistible, they have 2 T-32s again, 1390, 3 RU-251s, and a T-37. Vode, last battle, by the way, didn't do any damage. The entire time, he just tried to survive. And we saw that worked out for him.
It worked out for him indeed. The 1390 from Swipple, he is the one further to the west here, and also north.
This is a weird spread. I have to say that right now.
It is.
Actually spreading in such a way where you've got Meadowhawk out in the east. Meadowhawk makes sense, but I'm looking at the rest of the team. Shinma, good position, but with, who is that, Fosta Kid, way out on the flank like he is, east side. Well, it says, okay, never mind. I think I got it.
Yeah, it seems that they're trying to make Simply Irresistible guess which side they're going to attack from.
And they're also giving themselves the opportunity to create a flank if they would like to. In this case...
Look at this. Look at the sweep coming from Swipple, though. Swipple and Vode.
Exactly what I was about to talk about right there. They're moving in with a flank of their own, Simply Irresistible.
But they get noticed. Vode is hit for 238. He's going to have maybe a tough time. This T-37 hit again, 261, and that's going to cut them in half right now. Swipple not returning fire, now exposing himself, waiting for Fosta Kid to move up, try to get that kill. Hiding in plain sight, you could say, inside that village, but Fosta Kid gets hit for 756 in that volley, so traded fire on both teams here. Let's try to even this out.
Yeah, Fosta not doing so. Ooh, Vode is down.
War got that last hit.
Nice shot. Meadowhawk also contributed to that from the south, so good flank fire. He did take a hit in return for it, but I think that's a little bit of an advantage there. Now, Swipple does look like he's going to go and try and finish off that little Tier 6 light Meadowhawk, but he might be about to bite off a bit bigger bite than he's willing to.
Well, he has to be careful. He has to get into this cover as fast as he can as he moves further into the forest art. So it looks like he's safe from the rest of the fire coming from
Swipple has found him. They've found each other. Meadowhawk trying to run away. Swipple looks like he doesn't want to follow that. He does not, unless he somehow didn't spot him. But I saw a direct line with like 200 meters between Meadow and Swipple, and he's gonna get out.
Yeah, looks like Swipple's gonna stop in the south for a little bit and guard this flag cap in case there is a shift from Full Potato through the forest. And as we move back to the location of Bananas and Flax and Bobby and Eula and Pride, they're going to continue to defend this flag cap on the western side, as Full Potato is going to move entirely to the west with all of their tanks and go for the overmatch. Shot fired for Bananas towards Shinma along with Flack. Neither of them connect.
And now they're going to do something. This kind of reminds me. Remember when it was Simple Tankers and they did the blitz with their RU-251s down the one line on this map? They're doing much the same with External, following that up with
just
Warbander.
took 3 big shots and another one. He's down.
Not quite yet.
To 3... Oh, a couple more shots to 214 damage, 129 HP on Meadowhawk. And Fosta Kid could be the next one to fall. Big bounce off Stride Pride.
Warbanders found Eula. We got a 1v1 1390 in an ideal situation, but not quite. There's some cover fire coming in, and he gets the backup. Eula is able to finish him off. Good shots by Simply Irresistible, recognizing the primary target and taking it down. Now they've taken down External. That is 3 tanks down for only Vote On their team down.
A couple more bounces, and Shinma's trying to get behind, but which tank does he focus on? There's so much HP left on the 251 and the T-32.
Shinma broke apart from the rest of the team, trying to tear someone away, but Swipple, being a 1390, easily can 1v1 in a just far better than he can.
Now Bar's in a tough spot, along with Chandog, as that's only 1 tank down for Simply Irresistible, and only 2 tanks remain for Full Potato. And Chandog is down along with Bar at the same time, and that's a win for Simply Irresistible, tying up the series 3-3. So as we noticed at the beginning of the series, the defenders kept attacking, being aggressive, or at least meeting the opponents out in the middle of the battlefield in Prohorovka. Now when they're playing more defensive, they're making Full Potato come to them. They're dictating the pace of the battlefield a lot better.
Yeah,
but now it's going to flip.
And it depends on how they handle that. Will these guys just be better attackers? Will they be better defenders on this map? Because last time I was thinking Prohorovka, these guys were doing a much better job attacking than they were defending. This time, a little different.
In the sense of those hills of the south, well, it's the southwest.
There you go.
We have seen battles occur in that area that have been really, really stellar on the defensive side, and then attackers break them very easily based on patterns that these teams are starting to figure out. Patterns of, okay, if they're going to put the majority of their tanks in this section of the map, we have more of an open spot to the south that we can focus on the other flag cap. I felt that Full Potato's full-on aggression from the northern side was great to see that they were all together. But I feel that they're not utilizing the strength of the flag cap to that southwest or southeast corner, I should
They
say.
tried that last time, and you saw how it didn't work. You can't try that trick again. That's something that won't work a second time. Simply Irresistible knows the position he's going to get into. They know the likely positions if he goes with something else, and they can spot it out. They were better prepared for it that time. Full Potato has to try a different strategy, at least in their minds, in my minds as well. I would agree, trying a different strat works. But they may have made a mistake in taking damage before trying to start that attack. If you're going to assault that southwest position, I was reminded of the Simple Tankers attempt at that. And theirs was at full health, right off the bat, down the one line with those RU-251s, take someone out, and then you have your opponent surrounded, and you can just start focusing.
I'm going to be very honest here, Randall. I'm not seeing a clear, decisive strategy from either of these teams so far. I'm seeing a lot of reactive play. And this reaction is happening within milliseconds of each other. Oh, he's here. Turn. Oh, now they're there. Turn. And I'm seeing more of a strategy actually coming from Simply Irresistible by, hey, let's play defensive and hold back.
Maybe, but we are about to get into the next game, and we can talk more about what we see in these guys as we go into that. Looking at the tanks, though, we've got 2 T-32s this time from Full Potato with 1390 RU-251, T-54 lightweight, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. That is Full Potato. They are now the defenders, the blue team. The attackers, Simply Irresistible, with their turn, are going to use a Pershing, a T-69, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. Let's talk a little bit about what we see from their strategy and how we're gonna how that looks. Because you are saying that you don't see it quite as much.
Well, and I also need to bring up this disclaimer. This is a new map as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think these two teams are getting used to the behavior of their opponents on this map. We were seeing that a little bit in the qualifiers as well. So I'm not saying that they don't have a strategy. I don't see their personality coming out in the strategy.
Clear. It's not clear.
Very reactive right now, but not even to their opponents, also reactive to each other. Of, oh, hey, this tank went down. What do we do?
Maybe. But I want to try and prove a little counterpoint in that I think there is a strategy, but it's more subtle. It's a little looser. It's not as rigid as a push right down one of the lines with a group of tanks. It's a little bit more, at least for the defenders, Full Potato, it's take up your defensive position with your T-32s, support and scout with everyone else, bring in the cover fire from the T-32s, and your opponent is going to attempt to go for one cap or the other. Figure out which one that is, adjust accordingly, and make a counter push when your opponent gets close enough. You have T-32s. You cannot make a push at 200 plus meters. You can make a push when they're within 200 meters of your tanks, but outside of that, it's too far, you know?
Flak in the T-69 firing from afar. This has got to be blind fire. Nothing has been spotted at all.
Oh, little fire here onto Vodon. 208 from Warbander, as he is just peeking up ever so slightly. He's found a good spot for his T-54 lightweight. The turret armor's not half bad. Could bounce a shell, and he's actually safe from everyone to the north.
A couple more shots coming from
Maybe
Flak.
not.
Try and pry. Bananas.
Peeks up just a little bit.
Just a little bit. 242 against Warbander here. And another shot from Pride. Does not connect.
Vodon's coming back up. Might be able to put one into Warbander, who is currently pinned, I believe. He doesn't have the low ground to retreat through. And support fire is going to be needed from Full Potato to make this work. Otherwise, they could watch Warbander kind of get taken apart for the next few minutes.
They have to be careful, too, because if they focus too much on this one tank, this could allow a window of opportunity for Full Potato to scout to the north uncontested. But there's two tanks that are watching that northern section. That is Bobby.
Now,
and
this
Bananas.
strat, Simply Irresistible is using, I'm not a big fan of. I don't feel like they're trying to set a tempo. They're not putting any real pressure on. They're kind of playing with the cap, and they've got tanks way off to the north. They're the attackers. Yes, you can get flanked, but Full Potato is their primary strat, and most everyone else's is going to be setting up in the southwest, getting on the hills, and making that work.
Well, Bananas has pushed a little bit towards the village in the center, firing towards Warbander, but nothing has hit Warbander in quite some time, as Vode has taken the most damage on the side of Simply Irresistible. Eula and Swipple hanging back. 3 minutes and 43 seconds on the clock here, as the attackers, Simply Irresistible, are going to have to make a move soon.
Eventually, but right now, Full Potato's actually doing a pretty good job at killing time, especially with Warbander. Warbander in his position is a difficult target. Attacking him would be suicide by a single member of Simply Irresistible. Actually, it would be suicide by multiple members. And he's just going to kill time. Everyone's going to keep trying to shoot at him. There's 3 minutes and 15 seconds just about left. He can kill more. He can waste another minute if they keep trying to dig him out. If they don't, they're going to have to figure out something else, and that something else might still not work. Warbander is very close to his own lines and will be able to just leave and join everyone else on the hill.
Simply Irresistible now crossing the farmland as they're getting closer to the center village. Vode is going to push forward first in the M41 Walker Bulldog, and he could be the first to fall. He is.
That's Warbander. That's what I was talking about. He's in a good position for this attack, and they've just lost Vode to it.
Now Flak's going to have to push up the T-69, and these tankers will leapfrog and cover towards the flag cap on the western side. 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Bananas and Eula taking the northern approach as Bobby and Flak move through the center. Flak takes a hit for 243. Meadowhawk, a couple shots heading towards him as Bobby's going to push forward. They need to go up and over the hill, but they're going to be completely exposed. Flak takes another hit from Warbander. We have to check his stats at the end of this battle. He's doing significant damage to slow down the push from Simply Irresistible. Another shot from Fossikit hits Bobby for 235. Flak's going to hold as Bobby's going to swing up towards the center of the hill. Fires does not get his shot, but External gets hit for 257. Swipple, Bananas, and Eula now turning the corner.
And now Simply Irresistible is kind of pushing Full Potato off of their positions. You can see they're not quite as high on the hills. Fossikit's having to back up. Everyone's just giving a little bit of ground here. And that could allow Simply Irresistible to bring in their group down the one line. You see 3 tanks moving there. But minute 45 left. Not looking good for Simply Irresistible being able to clean this one up.
Flak hit for 241. Still more fire traded here, but the amount of HP is significant on the side of Full Potato. Fossikid's going to move away from this section with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. The cards are on the table, and it looks like Full Potato has the full hand right now as Bobby's going to fall back. A couple more shots. 706 in that volley. Shinma getting hit, though. He wanted to go for the kill, but he has to fall back.
And here's the counter-aggression. Full Potato has decided, all right, we know they're moving to our southwest. Get on the east side of this hill where they can't shoot us. Well, most of us. And let's start pushing on the 3 tanks, the T-69, the Strompanzer, the Pershing. They can try to go for those, and you see them trying. External's moving slowly. Boar is actually setting up to stop Swipple and Eula. But they might be able to do it. Warbander's doing, again, an excellent job doing serious damage this battle.
2 more kills. Fossikid and Shinma fall on the side of Full Potato as the rest of Simply Irresistible are trying to push up against them. More shots fired. Flak falls. Warbander goes down. Pride falls back, 485, and that shot that T-32 wants to get that kill. We still have to reload here. Boar.
External needs to get with Boar. They cannot afford to split apart.
Down
That's
below.
exactly why, because they have just lost that T-32, and that's hope for them. 24 seconds left. Boar is all alone. No one to focus fire with him.
And that's it. Simply Irresistible now takes the lead 4-3 against Full Potato as we move on to battle number 8. The first team to 5 will be able to take it.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
Warbender, that T-54 lightweight, how much damage?
Let's go ahead and find out. 1,233. He was 8 for 12.
You know what? That was way less impressive than I was thinking.
Yes, same here.
I thought that was going to be so much more. He does pick up 2 kills in that battle. Only one to get the finishing shots like that. Big problem with Full Potato on the defense right there was not sticking together, not having that counter push. I saw them move to the east of the hill, and I said, right here, this is where everyone's going to group together. They're going to take out that Pershing, take out that T-69, continue down the line, leave someone behind to just delay, and they'll take this one back. What they kind of hesitate on is to do that. The T-32s kind of hold back and aren't right next to each other where they need to be. If they were, in this situation, that Pershing, that'd be dead. They'd be able to move on, focus down one of these RU-251s, get it done immediately, and then move from tank to tank, eliminating them. And that was what I was hoping to see from Full Potato. That would have been the answer that could have gotten it, but Simply Irresistible, too many tanks, they got the kills they needed. It went better for them.
Yeah.
It just did.
Well, battle number 8, it's crazy to think that Full Potato at the beginning was in the lead, and now they're fighting from behind. And so in this type of position, what do they have to adjust? Because it seems that they had the fundamentals down at the beginning, and then they were catching some of the potential movements from Simply Irresistible. But Simply Irresistible fired, kept firing, started to wane down on the HP, and then moved in.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to have to do. This is a point in the match in which the pressure is on. These guys have played already 7 battles. I think they just need to play their game real quick. This last one, play your game. Don't change it up too much. Just try and keep your energy and stay focused. I think that's what it is for Full Potato. Real quick, their tanks, 2 T-32s, a 1390, RU-251, T-54 lightweight, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. Good setup, solid defense, workable. On the other side, Simply Irresistible, 2 Pershings this time, 3 RU-251s, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. So they've decided to alter it slightly, saying the T-69 didn't fulfill our needs appropriately. Let's change it.
Oh, look at this. Shinma and Meadowhawk. Scout Bananas first.
You recognize this, Josh? We've been talking about it for the past few matches. This is the one-line push that we saw from the qualifiers coming back out. Will it work? That's the big question.
Well, they're trying to cover that hillside, right, to get those defenders away from moving around those corners on the bottom of the hill on the flat surfaces.
But look at the one line. Vode is all the way in. Bobby, for some reason, has stopped. Eula has stopped. Swipple has stopped. This is not quite what I was expecting.
No, it's not. And now this spread is going to be difficult for them to return fire, except on Foster Kid, who takes 2 hits. That's coming from Vode and Swipple. But now Vode is starting to fall apart, and he is almost down. 886 damage done to his tank.
And he doesn't have enough support. The only damage dealt is to Meadowhawk for peeking up a little bit too much, and he's going to actually pick up the kill. With that, you have maybe Foster Kid on reload, right? Maybe. Everyone else doing pretty well. It looks good.
Swipple's getting hit again, 231. This is a complete overmatch from those 3 southern tanks taking down the one-line push. But now the other tanks are pushing in the center. That's Eula, Bananas, Flak, Pride, and Bobby. Trying to take down Shinma first. Concentrated fire against that tank. Can he get behind the building in time? He cannot.
That was a bold move from him. Not exactly a smart move, I'd say. Made a risk, didn't have the cover, and he goes down for free.
Still an overmatch in favor of Full Potato. And more shots fired. Bobby could be the next one to go down. He does from a long-range shot from Chandog. Meadowhawk and Foster Kid. About half health for Foster Kid. Turning around towards Eula. He could be out of shells, though. Eula's going to fire towards Meadowhawk for a hit. Pride almost takes down Boar, but it's Flak that finishes it up. Eula is the next one to go down. Pride and Flak still holding on in the center now. It's only Pride, as Full Potato is looking to tie this series up 4-4. 2 more shots, 1 more shot, and Pride goes down. That's it. After 8 battles, Full Potato is able to tie up this series, meaning we go into our tiebreaker map. We'll have to verify with our admin which map they're going to play on.
I believe it is Prohorovka today, but I may...
And Full Potato will be able to pick attack or defense. It is Prohorovka that will be the tiebreaker map. Now, the tiebreaker is significant in a sense that it is not the full 3 points for victory. It's down to 2 points, I believe, for the victor of the tiebreaker.
That would hurt quite a bit.
Yeah. So these teams want to get that best of 5 throughout the series, but we have to have a hard stop. So in battle number 9, we go to the tiebreaker map, and as we get that set up.
And our admin will also tell us based on which of the conditions they have won their side choice on Prohorovka. They're going to get to attack or defend.
Yeah.
Winner takes it. Might be a good idea, if you think about it, to say, okay, I have the tiebreaker. I'm going to defend.
Yeah.
But let's look at the series, the way it went. You saw attackers winning a lot of the time in this. Between Full Potato and Simply Irresistible, both times attackers winning on Prohorovka.
So you look at this traded fire coming from this replay here, and after the 2 tanks are destroyed on the 1 line, this is a straight-on defensive, hey, we're ready for you, even though Simply Irresistible pushes up. So this comes back to the first point that I made at the beginning of the series, and we're seeing a lot of different spectrums in a very small, like a microcosm
yes.
of these teams here. And that when they spread out, they're getting torn apart. When they stick together, take a little bit more time, and then move as one, or have a small little long-range brawl, well, long-range firefight, and then move together, they're having more success that way. I don't know yet, and this is going to be proven probably in the tiebreaker, if this is more of the execution of Simply Irresistible, or if Full Potato is trying to think too hard of where Simply Irresistible is going to come from.
I think these teams are more evenly matched than you're giving them credit for. I think they're very close.
I don't know.
This is my assessment. Of course. This is just I have a different opinion. I think they're more evenly matched. Yeah. Different styles a little bit, different flavor as a team.
Yeah, and the reason is we don't have a lot of data on these teams because it's the first time they're in the Gold League. We saw Simply Irresistible fight through the qualifiers. First time we're seeing Full Potato because they're from the Silver League. So obviously they deserve to be here.
Of course.
But trying to find the personality and the strategy that makes these teams stand out compared to the rest, that's still being figured out from both of them.
It may be more subtle. They may be those kinds
of
teams.
That's very true. That's very true. All
So
right, battle number 9. What do we have for tanks?
Yes. 2 T-32s for Full Potato with 2 1390s, an RU-251, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. Full Potato will have the defensive side. Simply Irresistible will be attacking. And Simply Irresistible attacking will have 2 T-32s, 3 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. Now this is much like their final battle on this map where you had the coin flip. And guess what? Full Potato going east one more time. Simply Irresistible, much the same. This time, Simply Irresistible is not taking nearly as much damage in this fight, and instead going west. They're going to put that maybe put that cat pressure on.
Bobby hitting the tracks for 262. Shot fired against Eula and Vode for some connections. Shinma took a hit on the side of Full Potato, and now Eula and Bobby will swing away from that eastern position at first, and Vode will take that northern spot. So from here, Simply Irresistible can put some tanks on the flag cap in the west and wait for Full Potato to make their move. As they try to set up to punish him.
That was predictable. The cap pressure right there from Simply Irresistible. Now we need to see Full Potato go for what we expect them to do, which is overmatch the T-32s while simultaneously trying to stop the cap. If they do that, they'll have the high ground.
Boar takes 2 hits from the T-32s as they're going to dance back and forth. We've seen this many times from teams in that northern position. They're going to have to make a move with Vode. He's going to have to support these T-32s or engage and distract the north. And now there's a reset. No, it looks like the tanks are moving from the flag cap to help in this firefight. T-32s are in trouble as the 1390 is going to get behind Flak. Bananas can't get the shot because Bander's going to block himself or cover himself using Flak's tank. And now External moving in his T-32, try to take down Flak. One shot, he will fall, waiting for it. External not taking the shot yet, and Warbander goes down. Vode falls to the north. There's the shot from External. And Pride and Bananas and Bobby are now on the other side of the railroad tracks, and they can take down External. Simply Irresistible is going to take this series.
Yeah, they've done it. In the north, there was a little fight going on. It does look like Full Potato is going to come out ahead, but they left Swipple alive to try and put attention in the north. You can see right now they weren't able to get as much success as they wanted, but Chen is able to finish off Swipple, and they did win that small victory. I doubt that they can take the rest of this away, but there are some low health tanks on the side of Simply Irresistible.
And Bobby's going to take a hit for 248, but there's return fire. There's return fire. Bobby's going to push up.
Yeah, Meadowhawk and Chandog in this little pit. If they both were here, I'd say it's a loss waiting to happen. A minute ago, it was a little bit looking like Full Potato had some kind of a chance.
Well, Bobby and Eula are the closest ones to those tanks. Bobby takes down Chandog. Meadowhawk, the last one alive for Full Potato. Bobby needs one shot to take him down. He does, and that's it. Simply Irresistible comes back and takes the series, even though Full Potato was in the lead, and Full Potato did more damage throughout the entire series.
Wow, yeah, that is really surprising. They looked strong at the beginning. That's what Full Potato looked like. They looked good. They looked better than Simply Irresistible at the beginning of this. That's the first 2 wins. Then Simply Irresistible, when they turned it around in battle number 3, when they finally had the attack, then I was like, okay, Simply Irresistible looks a little better now. And I think that's when they started to get traction and get momentum and start getting into a zone or getting into a groove, something, and it started to click. And then they got those 3 wins in a row. I don't know what happened. I don't know if someone just started yelling or someone gave a little pep talk, you know, but that did it.
So I don't mean to rag on these teams. I was saying I don't know exactly what they're trying to accomplish here based on their strategy. I knew the background of Simply Irresistible because we saw their matches throughout the qualifiers, and they were an intimidating team when it came to the defensive side by being aggressive on the defensive side. We did see that, but it was not necessarily working out for them. It was an attacker's game at first. So the next step I was looking for is how are they going to adapt to this scenario? What else do they have when it comes to strategy? And I wasn't seeing a clear, decisive choice being made by their team on the side of Simply Irresistible.
Yeah, it seemed like they were going for something a little bit more open-ended.
Sure, and they could be experimenting a lot too in the first week of their tournament series here for the Gold League. There's nothing wrong with that. Just
There's nothing wrong with open-ended strats, but they are less clear to us what they're intending to do, and it could be because they have no real clear intention that this is the goal. We're going to do it, and we're going to make it happen. They have goals, but they're going to allow them to happen, and they're going to look for openings and places to exploit.
Or they're doing such a good job of masking it, which would be the deepest meta.
That would be some pretty deep meta because we have the opportunity to put a flying camera over their layouts and strategies and pick them apart. So I feel like maybe there could be some hidden strats in there that could be holding back on something. I know teams have done that in the past, but I think they want to start the season strong, and I think they're going with open-ended strategies just to wait for their opponent to make mistakes and exploit those.
A great sign, though, is how close this series was between these two teams, and the evolution that we're going to see, that the audience is going to see over the next 8 weeks, and what's going to be the difference between these two teams, not only in wins and losses, but in how they define themselves when it comes to their performance on the battlefield of not just locations and strategies, but tank lineups as well. We saw some big variations overall.
Yeah, we really have seen
these two teams.
Some interesting choices, I have to agree.
Well, we'll see what other choices our next series is going to have in store for us as we get ready for match number 2 right here for the WGLNA. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.